Hello, welcome to the Friday Business Seminar with Dr. John Lukomona. Begin to share, begin to click share wherever you are, because this is the time to be able to do this. Click share so we can broadcast live to everybody. Let me test if Zoom is working. Yes, excellent. It's working good on Zoom. So we are on the Lesakutema channel, and I'm grateful that the numbers are increasing. We are around 65 subscribers and ever increasing from just a few. So share and like, and let me now create a link for Facebook on our website. Amakaya Wingi, what have I done? I think I need to relaunch the YouTube. By mistake, I closed the page. I'll have to relaunch. Oh, it's live. It's live on YouTube, and let me just get you live on Facebook. It's awesome. Let me just go down there. Begin to call people, a few more people to join us, so we can start on a good note. At 7 p.m. exactly, we're going to start. In the meantime, I want all of you to, excellent, it's live on Zoom. I've recaptured it. It's working properly. Let's capture the Facebook audience on other pages. I'm just going to share this, and then we get started. Begin to call people. I've got a very hot message for you today. Call a few more people, click like and share. Great, good things are happening. And if you want to join in the back office for today, the number is going to be 840-75-38-72-65. And the passcode is 45-1493. It's going to be awesome tonight. I just want you to start sharing this and let other people also learn by it. Hi, Jane. Great to see you already there. Share on your page and other people's pages so that people can follow this, and let's learn together. Today's theme is what attracts the Africans to the Western world. And we began this last week, so it's going to be really hot. And how can we implement some of those things in the African continent? So begin to share. I'm sharing to the page. I'll share to Lukomona John University, and I'm also sharing on the Amakaya Wingi, and I've also shared on, let me see, the Westerners Open College. Try and share on your pages as well. Tag people in, let them watch this. Let me share to another page. We are ready to go. I'm also going to share this on, I'm going to copy the link as well. Copy the link and share it and paste it onto your home page. There is a place where you can copy the link and share to your homepage and paste on your homepage. So let's get moving. I'm going to send to a few people on the messenger. It is 7 p.m. We are now kicking off. Excellent. I just want to send to a few people. Christopher, I'm going to send you a link there, and many more. Okay, now we are ready to go. This is awesome. This is fantastic. Things are happening. Right. I've done that. I can now just get this link, get the link and share it to some pages on Facebook. Let me just share some of these links on other pages, and then we are ready to go. It's going to be awesome. Call your friends. Call your friends. Tell them about this. We are learning great stuff, good stuff. Let me just share on some other pages as well. Excellent. We are live and well by God's grace. I just want to post something there. If I'm allowed on other people's platforms, yes, I think I'm allowed. It says create your own post. What's in your mind? Excellent. Friday business seminar with Dr. John Lukomona. I want you to keep calling people. This is going to be awesome. It's something very different that you've never heard before. If you heard it before, you're going to hear it in a different form. I can't see where to paste. Okay, at least I've done my posts. Yes, I found it. Okay, excellent. We are almost there. I've done my sharing. Now it is your turn to do your sharing. Keep sharing over there. And now I'm back on Facebook. I'll be making comments as we talk and as we discuss. Don't miss out this, gentlemen and ladies. This is your day, believe me. The stuff we're going to be talking about here will open your mind up. I'm telling you, I'm going to just put this link again on my link. I don't know how this is going to work out. Excellent. We are ready to go now. This is Friday Business Seminar with Dr. John Lukomona. And very quickly, let me just allude you to the, I might write down that just a minute. I want a place where I can be writing comments. That is all. It's like there. Yes, it's given me some place where I can write comments. Okay, I'm now ready. I'm ready to fly. Yes. Okay, I think I'm ready to fly. Good. Excellent. Fantastic. We are live on Facebook and alive on YouTube. Now, let me see. This is awesome. Yes. Yes, we are right there live. Excellent. Welcome to this program, Business Seminar on Friday with Dr. John Lukomona and a group of panelists. I'll introduce the panelists when we come to the discussions. And today, I just want to recap over time. We are based on the Amakayawingi platform, formed on 4 pillars, which is promotion, education, linking, and innovation, not in any particular order of importance. On these 4 pillars, you can build a structure, even stronger if you add more pillars, depending on the strength of the size of the structure you're building. Amakayawingi was formed in 2005 with a view to galvanize people to start investing in their communities. The first community that we were targeting was the Zambian community, simply because I come from Zambia, and when God calls you to do a thing, He first gives you a target audience. The target audience, the initial was the Zambian community. Now we cover across the African continent, Europe, and other parts of the world. How did it come about? It's because of 2 characters, Mr. and Mrs. Manonzero. These 2 were very educated with PhDs, and all they can have in the world in terms of knowledge was right there in their head. But something was missing. They were totally broke. So something was missing. The education on financial intelligence and how to make money was missing terribly. Despite their education in chemistry, despite their education in economics, despite their education in bookkeeping, hey, even counting people's numbers, writing people's books. This couple was broke, dead broke, meaning they had no money. That book I wrote was inspired. I wrote it one day, starting in the morning on a Sunday, and 5 p.m., I finished writing that book, 14 pages in total. And when I published it, by God's instruction, people began reading this, and they saw themselves in the story. And this Mr. and Mrs. Manonzeru were living in the diaspora, in the United Kingdom, away from Africa, in what they call the greener pastures. But those greener pastures were actually not green for them, because they became as broke as anybody could be. Even the sense of returning home would be so embarrassing for them, because when they were leaving their home country to go to the Western world, they were looking for greater productivity, greater financial growth. But what they found was the opposite. That Mr. and Mrs. Manonzeru were now enlightened on how they can come out of debt and how they can now begin to tick financially. That was the book, 14 pages. It blew people's minds, and people began calling in, and thus Amakaya Wingi was born. The very title of that first book was called Amakaya Wingi, featuring Mr. and Mrs. Manonzeru. Simple principle, they came together by finding other people of similar interests and similar difficulties in life. And then they said, why don't we start putting money together on the table? This month, they put some money together as 12 people. That total amount of money, say for example, £200 times 12, they put that money on the table for one person, and that person takes that money and go and pays off a debt. And the cycle went on throughout the year, and to each one of them had paid off some debt, and then they brought their skills on the table to form a company. And that company, each one of the people there, because they were very educated, they started rendering their own services to the company which they formed, in which all of them were directors. Before they knew, many months later, they started rising because they owned something. They were owners of something which they can control, which they can scale up. Scaling up, they can make it grow in the way they want it to grow. They were no longer ordinary employees in another person's company where they could not make decisions. They were employees in their own company where they can make decisions, and the effective decisions were to grow their business. They began in the United Kingdom. They began creating branches worldwide because these people were very educated. They are the very people, the same people working for other companies, making those companies grow. They were economists. Some of them were engineers. Some of them were entrepreneurs. But the way they were rendering their services was very different to another company. But now they formed their own company, which in the United Kingdom, they had access to cheaper finance. Oh man, I'm talking sense now. Somebody got to be blessed on this one. They had access to cheaper finance. If they wanted to borrow into their business, they would get it at a cheaper rate and do more work within the United Kingdom or somewhere else in Africa. So they began thinking deeper and growing bigger in the sense of innovation. That's one of the pillars of Makai Wing. So they became educated on how they can make money, and they created a company where they created sales and services in real estate. So people began buying off them. As they bought off them, they are making money. They become owners of a company, which they can now produce something for themselves and for the people. In that system, they have the power. They have the power to control. they have the power to grow, to upscale, because they have created what I call a cash machine. A cash machine is a business vehicle where you own it. You are the directors, you are the founders. At your level now, I would like you to think ownership on something that you can use as a cash machine to render a service to people. How does it become a cash machine? A cash machine is something that is giving you cash every month or every day or every year. How does it work? Because you have structured a business that is solving a problem in the community, and the community wants your service or your product, they come and give you money in exchange of your services or products. Thus, cash is coming to you. This is how Mr. and Mrs. Manonzero came out of trouble. And I'm asking you today, as an African in the mainland Africa, as an African within the Western world, wherever you've gone to go and look for greener pastures, my question is, have you found greener pastures? If the answer is yes, how are you structuring those greener pastures for longevity? It is by creating your own asset. And that asset is a business vehicle that you need to plant. Not by yourself. Mr. and Mrs. Manonzero, in the original Amakaya Wingi text, they came together as a team. And as such, they did leverage the team skills, collective skills. Somebody was good at managing finances. Somebody was good at economics. Somebody was good at engineering. Anything they needed in the company was found within their community. They no longer wasted too much time working for other people while they are becoming more and more broke. A caution. This does not mean that you've got to quit your job because you are broke. No, the job is just on business services. Use the income as seed money to come and buy shares in this company you are going to form with your friends. The idea you have is a power to launch you into the realm of greatness in terms of investment, in terms of business development. It is the idea. It is not the finances you have in the pocket. So what brought these people out of debt is when they came together as a team. A team is more than one person. So if you want to move forward as an African in the diaspora, as an African in the mainland Africa, leverage team skills, come together, form that limited company, and put on the table how much each one of you can contribute in terms of capital. And use the traditional way of starting a business. You can apply for cheaper finance in the Western world. Leverage that. This is how you will find yourself out of debt. I want that to sink, out of debt, because you have a cash machine, which is a business that will be rendering a service to the community, and you will be getting cash out of it. And when cash comes to you, you must use it properly in reinvesting in other portfolios. That will be a discussion for another time. Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome you to debate, contribute your points, and those who are behind in the Zoom office will help us discuss some few points that are cardinal. It's important that we as a community, we move forward one notch up every year. I'm so grateful that we are doing just that. To come to this stage, it's because we've been doing things that are working. And I've got some very good news for you. Not long ago, we have now moved some very good investments going into Africa in the energy sector. I will end here and I'll open up for discussions. And the theme today is, how can we reverse the things which attract Africans into the Western world? What are those things that make them want to live in the Western world? Last week, we raised a lot of points, some of which we are going to go over and see how we can fix them. And I want, if anybody here in the back office Zoom, just send a message on the Amakayawin group, send the joining link. It's always the same. I want all the parties that were here last week to be here. Okay, they're coming in. Excellent. Grace is there. Martha is there. Fantastic. Water is here. Musonda Chibela is here. Very good. I'm missing Felix. If you can just WhatsApp on the group, say, Felix, come in now. And also WhatsApp Matthews, tell him to come in now. These are the two people missing from last week's discussion. Then we're going to crack on to say, how do we fix these things? So we're going to do the same panel, a pattern. For those who are in the back office, I want you to open your microphones and open, in particular, your videos so people can see you on YouTube. So on Facebook, you'll be blessed by hearing the voices. I'll put on loudspeaker. You're going to hear the voices of the speakers. We are going to say, we're going to be talking about how to fix the things we admire in the Western world and put them into African context. One of the points raised was systems which work. We said in the Western world, systems work. Now, we are going to start with this one. Systems work. And we also said jobs are rewarding, regardless of the type of job you do. It doesn't matter if you're an engineer. It doesn't matter if you are doing a cleaning job. It doesn't matter if you're doing care. You are guaranteed a reward. When they say on the 14th of May, you're going to get paid, you are paid. If they say they'll pay you bonus, they will definitely pay you bonus. And we also talked about consistency of leadership. We said leadership in Africa, they are not as consistent as they should be. The political environment affects a lot of things. So today our focus is, how can we improve these things in Africa? How can we fix? In this first round, we're going to have, I'm sure all of you have done your homework, and I'm going to put it on the gallery. And before I do that, I want to give away a very nice present, but you exchange this with me. It's for ladies. Her ladies, I've got a nice present to give away. Look at that. This is in, let me remove the filter. On Zoom, people can't see that. I'll remove the filter. I want to do this first of all. Men, I had only one belt and I've taken it. It's now mine. It's a very nice one. I said, this one. Love your neighbors, you love yourself. So I loved myself. I've got this nice bag, ladies. It's from the college shop. I know many of you won't be able to come there because there's some scale of traveling so much. This is a beautiful bag. This one in the shop, it's $11.98. But if you want it, I'll just charge you postage plus £6. Come on now, I should go for it.
It still comes back to the same.
No, if it's $11.98, if you put postage, £6, it will be 17, almost 18. But within this, it's yours. Come on now. 6 plus £4 is 10. Look at that. It's beautiful. My wife said it's a beautiful bag. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna give it away. Look at that.
The color is fantastic.
Yes, look at that. It fits with the bag. Oh, Martha, it fits your shirt, your dress, you know.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's
So
blending
first,
in.
if you want it, inbox before the ladies in YouTube. You grab it.
I might need a sponsor to buy it.
Oh.
To pay for it.
This is beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. If you want it, just inbox me. It'll be in your post for you, and I'll send you where to go. And I can see somebody's got something brown on. Ah, this one. Look at this. Look at that, ladies.
Oh, Martha, it's your day.
Oh, the colors, yeah.
Grace, it matches your hair.
Yes. So if you want to get somebody gift for Christmas, do that. There's a last stock in the shop. We're getting this is beautiful. This was, how much was it in the shop? This one. Let's see. This was £8. Imagine if you get it. I'll do for £4.50 plus postage. It will come to about £8.
It's the same price.
We posted okay, only for people in the UK. I can't post this one to Africa. It'll be too expensive. Oh no! I see somebody in a brown hat. Your wife needs to have this water. Water. Look at this. I don't want to see your thumb. Water. Water. Your thumb is in the way. You've got a very nice hat. Get your wife this one. Look. You see the little purse inside there. Wow. You just drop it in this glass thing. Wow, this is trendy, this one. Yeah, I think Grace wants this bag. Also, you have got to beat Grace now. Look, it matches your hat. You got your hat, your wife is carrying this one. No, put it on. Okay, unmute yourself now. This is the question we are posing now. Who wants to go first? How do we fix systems in Africa? What should we be doing? The first question. Systems in Africa don't work very well. Jobs in Africa are not rewarding the consistency of politicians. So let's tackle these two. And Mr. Musonda, unmute yourself, and we want to see your face. Today, you're not in the helicopter. So who wants to go first on this? Systems, how do we fix systems then in Africa so that things can be good in Africa as well? How do we fix that one? So we've got the same round, 3 minutes each, and then we discuss points if time's allowed. Who want to go first? Okay, Martha, go first.
Doc, can I just say something? I'll say something, but not entirely to that question so that people can add on and continue with it. I think the first thing would be to identify what's not working. Identify what's not working and come up with what needs to be implemented.
Last week, Last week you
so
mentioned what wasn't
then I'll leave that to everybody else to continue.
Last week you mentioned what wasn't working. Do you remember? On the systems, Martha, you mentioned.
Yes, on the systems. Yeah, like coming up with systems that or ways in which can benefit both parties, not just working with the people in power, if I may put that over power, in authority or the leaders, and working together, identifying what isn't working and what works well, and then putting the right people.
Let me come in there. You mentioned some things last week that this thing doesn't work very well. Let's talk about the cash machine. Remember?
Yes, fix what's not working.
Yes. Now, let's talk about cash machines. It's part of the system. How can we ensure these things are working properly in Africa? Let's talk about this. People are educated. All of you are educated. Cash machines, if we say there's a cash machine by that bank, it must work. How can this be fixed? Let's talk about that one.
Okay. Can I come in?
Yeah, please, Grace.
As we discussed last week, that systems are lacking. Most of the things, there's no proper system. So what can we do to fix these systems? One of the things is we have identified those systems which are not working. And then what we should do is put our resources together and work with one system which we identify.
Yeah, mention that system, because last week talked about lots of systems. Mention that one.
Oh, you
system.
want to give me an example?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them.
Let's say of salaries, where we talked about people working not being paid.
That's right. Good.
Yeah. So let's say I'm working with some people on the ground in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
And if we put our system that whether we're paying them weekly or monthly, and we make sure whatever we are doing, people are being paid so that our system becomes like a piloting system, and everybody will be pointing to our company or our system, says if everybody was working like that, and that will attract the attention of the people in power. You go private, but eventually they'll see you and they'll identify you. They'll approach you and start to appreciate your efforts. Some of them will ask you, how are you making these things work? And then we'll say, okay, for us to show you how our systems work, we can partner with some of the government bodies. And then we start working with them alongside. And then as time goes on, I know people would want to adopt the system which we have implemented in place. That's how I'm seeing it.
On salaries. So you are saying that
instead it can be salaries or
no. Let's focus on one thing.
Salaries. Okay, salaries.
Yeah, let's talk about one thing, because salaries
and
is one thing that
on it maybe time management.
No. Don't go there. Let's stay on salaries. Yes. One thing I've identified, salaries, you say, I'm getting paid at a monthly. Monthly doesn't come. So you are suggesting that instead of doing a monthly cycle of payments, let's go to weekly wages like the UK. The UK, weekly wages work very well. Mm-hmm. Most companies in the industry, they pay you a week in arrears. Rather than waiting for the troubles of 4 weeks, the company is shaking, nobody's getting paid. I think you've got a point there. Let's go at salaries. It is not always, I believe, that's a very good point. It's not always that you should pay people monthly. I think in Africa, and I want us, when we talk this, let's generalize it, then let's give examples from which country you come from as well, so that we can have an understanding. I believe we are not all beginners. We've been doing business many years. We want to fix salaries. I think the point you have raised is important on weekly wages.
Yeah, it can be weekly or even daily. Those who just come to do a work on that day, when they finish, they're paid cash on hand, they go.
Okay, let's just go for weekly, because the business also can suffer if you pay them daily. The business needs some cash flow to stay in the bank, and do other things. Let's stick on the weekly wages first of all. For me, I like weekly wages. For one reason, it's motivating to the worker. If it's a husband who's working in the house, or the wife, on Friday, she says, my husband, I'm paid. Or he says, my wife, I'm paid. There's happiness in the family because money is coming regularly. And there's some form of guarantees. I want other people to hit hard on these salaries. How do you think, Martha?
What Grace has said, that's in fact, I'll pick on salaries as well, but alongside salary, also working patterns. In terms of systems, we're already aware, or we are familiar with systems are already in place that have been proven and are working. So that can be adapted. Like we have to evolve with the times. So I know, like in Africa, back home, you find, or some countries, there's set time hours of when people work. I know a lot of people hustle or have their own businesses, but also adapting, being flexible in working patterns and hours, I think that could also help. Like, other than doing fixed 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, the long hours, one can adapt a different cycle of work, other than you can do early shifts, late shifts, depending. Implementing things like this and changing with the times, I think that would help. The weekly wages is a good one. and like Grace was saying, are not casual, but also there are jobs where you get, especially the tradesmen, they get paid daily in this country. Some of them, you find they get paid daily, a day's job, a day's work. So
Yes.
there's no gaps, and you realize that way there's no, I mean, people are motivated to work or to come to work because there is a reward and they're not suffering because you can put in the work. And like you were saying, Doc, you're waiting for your pay. By the time that payday comes at the end of the month, that money is finished because it's covering all the bills. Now you're back to square one. So I think the weekly wages would be a good one. I don't know if they do that in Africa just yet, but yeah. And like, I'm familiar with the working, you work, you're paid a month in arrears. That also is very common here. So that would be a good system to adapt. And also, and I think also I think consistency is key as well. When people work,
before you go to that one, Martha,
yes.
Before we go to too many things, let's stay on the pay. So I think
on the pay.
Patterns is I want.
Okay, on the pay, consistency in terms of when, if you're being paid at the end of that week, to be paid then, or if it's end of a month, because I know there are times when people work, instead of being paid that month, they'll be paid at the beginning of the following month. I think it's a common thing in Africa. Or you work for 3 months with no pay and people still show up for work.
Very good. So that's the reason why
I think just being consistent in that payday. That payday is it doesn't have to be the last day of the month. It could be the 20th day of the month.
Okay, let's bring it home now. I want us to hear from another person. My proposition has moved towards weekly wages in fact, 3/4 of the industries, if they can adopt weekly wages, I think it would be beautiful. So weekly wages, Water.
Yeah, thank you, Doc, and hello, Martha. Apparently, sorry, I'm sorry I came in late.
No, you're okay. Don't apologize. We don't want to waste your story. You've got only 3 minutes. Just come in on the topic.
On the topic at the moment, I don't have any concrete inputs concerning salary, because myself, I'm one of those people that doesn't like to deal with things on a macro level. I love doing things on a micro level so that it can give me an enablement to build a solid foundation. Because when we begin to talk Africa is a huge continent, bigger than Europe, America, China put together. But if it is something that we can say, okay, this is our objective and our starting point, or a pilot place could be Zambia or Zimbabwe or Nigeria.
Water. The simple question is, you live in the United Kingdom. This much you know. Let me come in. I want to help direct your thoughts. We are saying that here in the UK, most industries, they will pay you a week in arrears rather than waiting for a monthly salary. And we say weekly salaries are quite motivating. 7 days, you are paid. So you are willing to go to work. Could that system, hypothetically, you have experienced it yourself, would that system be better in African countries as well? Because they're in African countries, we're going to generalize first of all, before you do your own case study. Can this be a motivating factor if we shortened the payday from 30 days? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Doctor, without a doubt, it will be a motivational factor. But unfortunately, African countries doesn't operate on the same level when it comes to salary.
That's the reason why I'm talking this, yes. That's the reason why.
They don't operate from the same database. So, like I work in my country. I work. My first time was my first employment was where I was paid weekly wages. Before I moved into a different company where I was paid a monthly salary. So that's why I'm saying, so we Africans don't operate on the same platform.
Yes, yes.
But hypothetically, as you have rightly said, it's okay. It's something I could work in Africa, and it will work in Africa, and it will be a kind of a spirit upliftment to so many workers, you know, for them to be agile and be proactive in their duties. Yeah, it will work, and it will be a motivational point for them to be active and proactive as well. So that's what I can say.
Okay.
Because I don't have anything, to be honest with you. Because
that's enough. That's enough. Let's go to Musonda. What's your view? Weekly wages.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Very loud and clear.
Okay, so on weekly wages, oh, by the way, I'm from Zambia, and apologies, I was unable to turn off my...
No apologies, just go straight into the thing. There's no apologies here. Because the more you apologize, the more time you lose. Just go for it. You see, now you're frozen because of apologies. Gentlemen, ladies, just go for it when you don't talk about the apologies. Go for it. Patrick, you'll be next. Don't say it because you're late. Just say it.
Weekly wages, I think problem. So okay, so I think it would be a good system to both the employee and the employer, in the sense that with most of us Africans, or not generally every human being, when you're going for work, the number one motivating factor is money. So the sooner it comes, the more motivating your work becomes. So if we were to introduce weekly wages to the African system, I think that would be motivating to the worker, and would see a lot of productivity and efficiency in everything that African individual is doing concerning whatever field they're in. And also to the employer, I think it becomes an advantage, because preparing your payroll checks, anything that has to do with payroll per week makes your work easier, because it becomes easier for you to calculate the number of hours that one is doing in a day. It becomes a little tedious, especially if you're dealing with a lot of people, to start calculating for a monthly wage. But if it's per week, it becomes a whole lot easier for you as the employer as well. So this system, I think, if it was to be implemented here in Africa as well, it would actually, bring about production, high levels of production in whatever it is that we are doing. I think that would be my contribution for now.
Fantastic. Yeah, let's hear it from Patrick. That's a direction we are looking at. Actually, you've mentioned some advantages to the employer and the employee. That's very good. I didn't realize that the employer will also save time, because if they are doing this thing on a weekly basis, the system will be set up such that they can even perceive any shortfalls that is coming next week. So they'll be careful with their money, handling the cash. They say, guys, don't touch this money. Next week, it will be wages for people. But if it's for a month, you think 30 days is a long time, they'll replace. That's where people fail to pay people. Say, 30 days time, it's coming. Let's just use it for other thing. And that other thing doesn't work. Now you have got no money. You see, those things happen. But if it's 7 days, you say, guys, don't touch. Mr. Musonda, if you don't pay him, he's going to shake this gate like nothing. So they keep Mr. Musonda's weekly wages going. Okay, Patrick, welcome, sir. Don't say that you are late, just go for it. Patrick is putting his headphones. Okay, well, Patrick is putting his headphones. We'll come back to that point. Now, let's combine this very point. It's about systems. Martha mentioned that consistency. How would consistency come into this? Patrick, are you able to hear us?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Patrick.
Yeah, though I'm having a challenge with my PC. I don't know exactly what's the problem. I'm getting you a little bit lower. Tried all the volumes here and there. I don't know exactly what's happening.
I know, I think the headphones, they are happy with weekly wages. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We can hear you loud and clear. The question is, how do you think of introducing weekly wages in African countries? Would that be a good thing or a bad thing? Your points to improve efficiency. Because in the Western world, here there's weekly wages and daily wages. So people are always eager to go to work and they are happy and motivated. Do you think that will be a good thing? And what are your points?
All right. Weekly wages could be a good thing. Only if we are educated to understand that when you have got a lot of money, you don't really have to. You don't really have to look at the person who is giving you. I'm in a meeting place, please. You don't have to look at the source of your income. Okay. Good night. Sorry for that. Yeah, children, I don't know.
Of course, they need that love before the bedtime. You're a good father. Let's clap for Patrick. Don't feel jealous. Come on, Martha. Continue, Patrick. A good father.
I don't know if on the platform we have Kaondes.
No, we're Africans.
All right.
So if you want to use a case study of Kaonde, just use it. And
okay.
What
there's only this notion in Africa, if we can work on it, we value ourselves above the weekly wages or the monthly wages and plan well on how we can invest on larger concepts or bigger concepts. This is in reference on what happens here in Zambia, especially on the northwestern. You'll find that someone gets employment, good employment, immediately they get paid on their month end, they just buy a bicycle and then go back and start doing charcoal burning. So if we can only fight and understand to say weekly wages, if we can invest them on a bigger concept and try to invest on more than
Mr.
a bicycle.
That's a different one. Mr. Patrick, that's a different direction. We're talking about weekly wages. Are they good or not good? Reasons. We're not talking about where they should invest. Not yet. In fact, I like people can go and buy bicycle and start charcoal burning. They are entrepreneurs. But let's not go that direction yet. I want us to look at, is it good for us to start implementing weekly wages? Matthew, you're just coming in.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Sorry,
we are fixing the systems. We already know that you are late. We came late. Why are you telling us?
Well,
okay, Matthew.
All right.
We are fixing problems enough. We are fixing problems in Africa.
That's Africa for you.
You see now again, you're making us late by telling us you're late.
That's African for you.
No. It's no longer Africa. Let's go. It's so Africa.
It is courteous to say to apologize for not coming, and
people must resign in coming late. Okay, no. Matthew, let's go for the point now quickly. We are fixing the issue of wages. Monthly wages, the pattern in Africa is such that 1 month delayed, it means second month. What if we started weekly wages? If there was a delay of a week, it's not like a delay of a month. A month is a long time. Do you think weekly wages would work just like it works in the Western world? Many of us have been through jobs that you get paid weekly. Even in my business, I pay myself weekly. I think weekly is nice. I want to see something coming out. Monthly has issues. Talk about that point. What's your viewpoint on weekly wages in Africa?
Okay, mostly I would say basically the disadvantage with Africa, maybe it's because of maybe this financial cash flow, maybe I would say. But otherwise, if it was weekly wages, it would be maybe alleviate a lot of problems, I think. People tend to take, I mean, a month, it takes too long for for most of, if you are just getting a wage which is not, for a month, it's a quick weekly wage will be easier to alleviate. It will be easier to sort out issues within a short time of that week than waiting for a month and you are just getting a 1,000 kwacha, for example, in my country, Zambia. You get 1,000 kwacha per month. That will be, again, another month. That's not even enough to cater for a month. So if that can be turned to a weekly, it would maybe help out in that it would sort out some issues. And it's not a longer period of waiting for another one kwacha to come in. So that would help out, sort out the short-term issues. And if it was investment, I mean, most people literally don't even invest their salaries in Zambia. It's a matter of spending. Basically, they spend the salaries. So it will be easier for them to have 1 week they buy a mealie meal, at least they buy a bag of mealie meal and have all the carpenters, Then the next week, maybe they can think of something else. That will help out than 1 month, which within 2 weeks, the mealie meal is gone, things are gone and they're going about to get to what we call kaloba in Zambia is getting short-term loans, which are of high interest. In fact, that ends up sending people back into debt and, poverty. So I would, in fact, I was saying to my wife the other time, I said, I should be paying my workers one, weekly wage, not monthly, because monthly is just too long for them because they come again to you and say, oh, can I have some, can I borrow an advance? Can I have an advance? That's why there's this issue of advance in Zambia. I think that is a disadvantage because they are just spending their future, income and not using it for anything better, but for food. So weekly, I think I would recommend that. In fact, that would be a good campaign for
Okay.
For you, Mr.
Okay, fantastic. I like that point of borrowing before they pay. It's because of the length of the time people have to wait. Let me get a Kenyan scenario here. What happens in Kenya, Martha? You're from Kenya. Do you have situations where people before the month and they have borrowed 4 times within the month before they pay? Explain that how it affects people.
Oh yeah, they end up being in debt. And and also causing enmity because you end up borrowing the high interest loans or you borrow within the family. Because in fact, I don't know about other parts of the country, they have a tendency of even paying 3 months in arrears or 4 months. How do you survive?
Yeah.
Even in hospitals, some people you find they don't get paid that exact month, you get paid 2 months in arrears. So how is somebody's still showing up for work? So you've already borrowed money to even make it to work. So I think it's a bad system.
Bad systems. I think I'm liking it that we began on the system of salaries. Let's have a Nigerian scenario. Walter, you're from Nigeria. Do you have things like this in Nigeria where somebody has to borrow some money before their monthly pay? More.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of financial institutions that do money lending. and they call it a short-term loan. It does exist in Nigeria. But the only difference is that in Nigeria, we have a kind of hybrid payments in terms of wages and salary. There are some organizations or some businesses, they prefer to pay their workers weekly wages. And where you can see monthly salary is predominantly with the government institutions. From by your question there, yeah, there are lenders, short-term lenders in Nigeria.
So targeting people want to borrow for shorter term. So it's a common problem. We've heard from people from Zambians here.
We have another father.
The babysitting.
We've lost the host.
Yeah, no.
He'll be back soon.
Maybe somebody who hasn't commented can comment.
Yeah, or contribute, yes. Walter, had you finished what you were saying?
Yeah, I have finished. I think I have finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grace, do you have anything to add?
I think everything has been said. The only thing about the short-term salary paying is it motivates the workers.
Yeah.
And as an employer, you don't need to dig into your pockets for extra, because every day everybody will be coming with a story. Every day, but you just tell them Friday is coming.
Yeah.
And they'll be looking forward to that. So it's less problems for the employer as well.
Yes.
That's true.
And it's good for the business,
Yeah.
for productivity purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you have a lot of people coming to look for jobs because they know they are paid weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be competition there.
And looking forward to Friday, payday.
Yes, I like it. Sorry about that. There was hiccup. Something just dropped off here. Yes.
Are you recording?
I think we are going somewhere.
Yes.
The outcome of this in our own. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The outcome of this should be that whatever businesses we are doing ourselves, if we're no longer doing this, let's try to implement. We can start implementing for 2 workers in our systems, begin to pay them weekly, then scale it up slowly. Because I remember somebody mentioned about the cash flow. From doing business, the way I've seen things, once you implement a new system, you pilot it with a small number of people, or just choose one. You benchmark it, and you find that even the cash stops running away from your business, because certain bad habits stop. Yeah. For example, in my establishment, we do monthly wages for some people and weekly wages for some people. Those days before we ever used to do this, we said, wow, how would we manage weekly wages? I'm telling you, I don't know how things work. Some business transactions which come, they just fit it in the week and say, where was this before? It's because we've made a decision and certain things begin to follow that pattern. I'm sure Africa can manage this. It can even kill the borrowing, the heart of borrowing. Let me borrow. It's because 4 weeks is a long time,
It is.
It's a long, long time.
It is. Doc,
But
recording is not in place. Are you meant to be recording?
It's recording.
It is, yeah.
Is it now?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, thank you for that.
When you dropped off.
Dropped.
Yes, let's talk about this. I think if let's stay on salaries today, we just zero in on this one because we are making progress, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor.
Yeah.
If I may say something again, please. You know,
Please.
I think this we are looking at more from an employee perspective. And if we put it into proper context from the area of the employer, and an employer may prefer monthly salary instead of weekly wages. Reason being that, you know, the more an employer keeps that money or turn it over, it generates more revenue. But the moment that money keep going out weekly basis, so it may affect some procedures within the organization or company. I am believing that, yes, an employee, for the sake of cash flow, may prefer weekly, but then when you look at it the other way around, from the point of an employer, he may say, okay, he prefer to make monthly salary.
Okay, what other people want to say on that one?
Yeah, but if you were budgeting that amount of money, it's the same as you keeping your monthly wage salary breaking into 4 weeks. And therefore, that money still stays in your account, whatever, if it's the interest you are trying to gain on the money, you will still gain interest at least. But I think to me, I think this is advantageous even for, you know, for the economy of the country. If you have, you know, short-term wages, which weekly wages, people tend to have the cash to spend, and you know, there's cash flowing around the economy, the country economy. Then you know, monthly takes people. That's why people are getting deeper into debt because of this. There's also money laundering. I mean, there's you know, high interest, the loan sharks, and you know, which are taking advantage of that. I had an issue where this guy is, imagine per month is charging interest of 30%, and that's just interest. He loans you 1,000. He says, okay, if you don't pay, you will have to pay 30%. I mean, by the month end, you pay me 30%. If you don't pay, it gets another 30%. So it becomes, eventually, if you don't pay, you find that you have more than what you are owing him, almost 3,000 just within a short time, because 30% are accumulating and all that. I said, that's really exploitation, because these guys, you know, that if they are getting credit, they don't have any other source where they can get the money. So the whole, you know, it's these guys who are short-time lenders who are exorbitant in interest, and they end up, you know, capitalizing on that. And they don't care, because whatever, if you don't pay, you are accumulating the money. They end up getting, you end up paying more. And they'll either come and grab your something invaluable from you, saying, yeah, you owe me this. My nephew was taking his welding machine. Somebody took his welding machine for, you know, which was worth far much more than the 2,000 which he was owing. And this guy has gone away with the machine, and then he comes and says, oh, I sold it and all that. I said, this is crazy. When he had the money, he couldn't get the thing back.
So if there's little money coming weekly, you can even mitigate against that one. Last point from Patrick. Last point from Patrick, so that we can go off air. We are now 8 o'clock.
Okay. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes.
Yes. I think the weekly wages, for Africa could be the best.
Mhm.
So far, living in a mining town, looking at how the miners have been exploited, as I concur from the previous speaker, basing on the long days of the month, you find that by the time it's 15, when they are almost nearing to being paid, that's when all commodities in the house almost runs out. And they have got no option. As a daddy, you have to provide for the family. They have to eat before going to school. They have to get their packages, and then you have to pay for their transport. If you don't have, you're not going to get anything for free. So you just have to go and borrow from these exploiting money laundering houses and individuals. And if that could be replaced by weekly wages, I think we can do much better in terms of sustainability and having a cash flow on the citizens of Africa.
Fantastic.
So for me, I can say it's a welcome idea to have weekly wages. It could lessen the burden of parents and help in developing individuals and get focused, because you don't have that luggage of load to say, where am I going to get this by the time it is month end? You know that every Friday you're going to have a relief, and you'll be able to plan smoothly because you don't have that headache and that load of thinking too much. Maybe I hope maybe even the so-called hypertensions can even reduce on the on the part of parents.
Yes. Health benefits. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very, very good discussion. We have to finish at 8 so that we can have a cup of tea. Those who are doing other things, let's go quickly. See you next week. I think let's stay on salaries even next week, because the two factors mentioned here on the benefit of the employer and the employee, the disadvantage for the employer and the employee. We have to weigh these factors together. Somebody mentioned cash flow will be an issue. Another person mentioned disciplines might come into effect and the efficiency such that these systems begin to run well, just like in the Western world. There's a mixture. There's the labor section. When we say labor section, where there's more people in the production units, like the conveyor belts, etc., etc., many of those people get weekly wages. Then there's top management, they get monthly wages. Maybe that's mix and mix can help in African context, where the people who are in the intensive labor areas like mining, etc., they get weekly. We don't want to starve them. So that if there's a small hiccup, it's only a week delay, not a month delay. This will prevent people from having hypertension, like my brother just mentioned there, many health benefits. The Shylock will be taken out of business because people have got cash every week anyway. And they can manage better systems. And the efficiency in the company will increase because these workers are happier workers. They are going to work there knowing that next Friday, another pay is coming. Signing off, but still present with you. This is Dr. John Lukomona and the panelists featuring Patrick, Grace, Matthews, Walter, Martha, and Musonda is flying his helicopter. He just left. See you next week, same time. People on Facebook, bye-bye. People on YouTube, bye-bye. But people in Zoom, don't go. Have a cup of tea.